Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Chad M here for BetHubb.com. Finally, the NHL players have been locked out by the owners as the CBA expired at midnight last night. This comes of no shock to anybody after what has transpired over the last couple of months, or shall we say has not transpired anything positive in terms of getting a deal even remotely close to being signed. And I have so many problems with the way this entire process is played out, and I'll assess equal blame to both the owners and the PA for waiting far too long to even bother starting to negotiate. What on earth are both sides thinking when there's been two lockouts in the last 15-20 years to wait till July? Why was this not even thought about last season? Why in December and January this year were there not proposals being sent out to get a general framework put in place here, at least to have some ideas bouncing off of each other until waiting till the very end? And it just drove me nuts seeing how smug Gary Bettman's face was when questions like this came up back around the All-Star break. I clearly remember on CBC they do a damn good job drilling Bettman here with the satellite hot stove, and the boys, Ron McLean, they're just relentless towards Gary Bettman. I absolutely love the coverage they provide. He just gave a look like we have utmost confidence when the season ends that we will get a deal done. Well, that's wonderful, Bettman. You can continue to talk out of your ass, something that you've done for 20 years, and the results never seem to live up to what comes out of that trap of yours, and it just drives me nuts. And that's about all the real blame that I'll put on the owners, because at the end of the day here, majority of the fault is definitely put on the players. And I know a lot of people don't take the stance because I think that the owners are the ones being greedy, that all the reports are coming in, that the game is at its best economic state that it's been in for the last 15 to 20 years. Revenue in the league continues to grow. So how on earth is it reasonable for them to ask the players to take a massive pay cut based on the structured agreement that was put in place for the last 8 years? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. They are the owners. They can demand pay cuts at any time they want. And the biggest issue we have with all of this is the fact that Donald Fears somehow steered these players down a road that they believe that there's a partnership going on in this league. What kind of BS is this? A partnership? Since when were players owners in the league? It's never been that way. Not in hockey, not in any of the major sports. At the end of the day, the owners endure all the risk, not the players. Last time I checked, the owners are the ones that build the stadiums, or at least get the city to pay for it and then manage it. Last time I checked, they pay for the airplanes. They pay for all the equipment. They pay for the trainers, the coaching staff, the food, everything involved with the expenses side of the sport is all ticketed to the owners. They take on all the risk. So if the players want to be hotshots and say that they're partners in all this, then why are they allowed to not endure any risk whatsoever? Based on that logic and that premise, that means every single franchise that loses money, and there are many of them do it on an annual basis, then those players shouldn't get paid. They should be taking losses as well. They just don't seem to get it. This is not a partnership, and that's where the problem is. They really believe that that's the case. And until they start to believe that it isn't the case, they're never even going to come close to coming to an agreement. They think hockey might roll around in January. Good luck. They'll be lucky to even come back in a year's time from now with that mindset. And then furthermore, when you just think about the stupidity of the way the players have handled this, the entire debate here has been over how much of the hockey-related revenue should be going percentage-wise to the players and the owners. In the last CBA, it was 57% to the players. Well, now the owners want more than 50%. So basically, they're asking for, at the bare minimum, a 7% pay cut. Well, what do you know? After 2 months of negotiations, Donald Fear goes, we'd like to have a definition of what hockey-related revenue is. What kind of moron representative of a union doesn't ask that right off the bat? How do you allow there to be negotiating and going back and forth on proposals for 2 months only to ask this question then? It should have been detailed at the very beginning, so when the first proposal went out, that you actually had a clear-cut definition on it. Get the owners to provide it for you and say, we're not going to counter-proposal anything until we know what that is. And then you want to talk about counter-proposals, Fear would also go on record and say, oh, now our counter-proposals are actually going to be based on what the owners proposed to us. So basically, they admitted that for the first couple of months, they were just coming up with completely abstract concepts that were nowhere near what the owners were proposing in the first place, taking them down a completely different path. It's pretty simple. One side puts out a proposal, the other side looks at the points within it and counters and tries to change what's there, instead of just coming up with something completely new altogether. I think the players went in with the hard stance here. Fear got in their head and said, we're going to win this one. You guys stay with me, and we're going to push the owners around. It's clearly not working. At the end of the day, half the owners probably don't give a shit if there's no hockey. Why? Because they lose money. So by not having a season, they actually save money. They don't care. They're billionaires. They have many other businesses. They have many other revenue streams. They're not the players that need these paychecks because they don't have any other opportunity in life to make money like this. So for them, they'll sit out as long as they can in order to get what they want. They did it in 1995 and they did it in 2002, and they will again right here. That's just the way it works when it comes to pro sports. The owners are the employers. They have more money and they will push around the players, especially when you factor where hockey sits in the four major North American sports. It's a distant number 4. And when you look at the fact that the television contract revenue that they bring in is a distant number 4, that plays into it. And then when you also factor in that the players in the NHL, based on the amount of revenue that's overall generated in the league, actually make the highest percentage, that's the main thing that the owners are going after here to get them to reduce the hockey-related revenue percentage amount that they get. So I will continue to rant against these players here because they're acting extremely greedy and they don't understand how lucky they are to be playing a professional sport for a living, making millions of dollars. And okay, so they might have to make a little bit less. Boo-hoo-hoo. If they want to come in with the partnership concept here, well then I'd like to see players that underachieve on their contract write a check back to their owners. I'd like them to take on some of the expenses when the team that they play for loses money because they're not making an entertaining product on the ice. Have they ever once come out and said that? Not a chance. Donald Fear is completely screwing things up here. And I know everybody doesn't like Gary Bettman because he's a little twerp and he's a bobblehead, mini speak, and he's a twerp. I don't dispute that. But the bottom line here is he is paid by the owners. And if they like what he's doing and they continue to get what they want from him, he'll continue to make his outrageous $8-9 million a year, despite the fact that the fans and the players cannot stand him. He works for them. And yes, the lockouts definitely are a gray cloud casted over the NHL that you would tend to believe that a commissioner that goes through 3 of them would be considered bad. But that's what the fans think. Bettman doesn't care, nor do the owners, because he's paid by them. So the fans and the players need to also get that through their head. You guys understand my stance on this now. I've made it very clear. These players are off their rocker, and the longer they wait, the deal is going to continue to get worse. Chad M here with BetHubb.com. Make sure to keep coming back to check out our rants. And also, get on that website, sign up, and start betting your friends on what you think is going to happen with all the sports that are going on right now.